Abusua ye mama kwa basonko so de bagana politics avenue so abusua ye mura nsemu. Abusua ye de nsem betu dwa e wa ase ye abronye nsem bi e course na no ye de brem wa ase no. And abronye esa ne lawyer kopie mu court say omoko siki for variation. Say ne document say bail amode man no ye bail terms amode man no say omogije ne documents bi ni ade no. O se ko share court say court de ye de ne traveling passport and any document bi ma no nanka why dey watumi dey to kwan akosa no ho yare anase enuma bi no ama court dey anje antum court aboagu court say nya dia or the travel document anase the variation anase okosiki for bill variation no nya dia court dey agi atum ama the court dey aboda nsem ne dey agu mienko ti nsem a lawyer anase nsem a court so efa abronye case no a court a
to News Central here on TV3, I'm Kamini Amano. Now, lawyers of NPP's Bono Region Chairman, Kwame Bafo, popularly referred to as Abronye DC, are seeking a variation of bail conditions for their client. Abronye is on a 100,000 cedi bail with 2 sureties to be justified. He's also to deposit his travel documents with the court registrar and report to the police CID every fortnight. He is facing charges of offensive conduct conducive to the breach of peace and publication of false news over alleged derogatory remarks against a circuit court judge. Earlier, the presiding judge at the circuit court cautioned counsel for Abronye, who raised objections to court proceedings which they noted were incomplete. Let's connect now with Lord Edwasari, who's a court correspondent on this matter. Lord, what else can you tell us about the attempt to vary the bail conditions for Abronye? Did it work?
Unfortunately not, Kemini. So basically, Abronye and his lawyers came to court today seeking to vary the bail conditions. We understand has to do with him depositing his travel documents to the court registrar. In the bail variation application, which is yet to be moved, they are seeking that his passports and travel documents essentially be released to him for medical reasons, among other things. Now, when the case was called today, the court indicated that they had just been served with that, with those processes, and then the prosecution in the matter had also indicated that they had filed an affidavit of opposition, which they had also served to the court. So the court asked that they'll have to adjourn the case to basically assess and go through the documentation of the processes which has been filed by the lawyers for Abronye as well as the prosecution. And so the case has been adjourned to Thursday for the motion to be heard and then ruling on the matter. But even before the High Court case, there was a bit of drama at the Circuit Court. You remember that Abronye was remanded into BNI custody over charges of publication of false news and then one other charge that has to do with stirring up the public with regards to making alleged derogatory remarks concerning a circuit court judge. Now, Abronye was before that circuit court judge, and then the lawyers they raised issue with court proceedings from the last time they were in court. Now, this was their case. They indicated that the last time they were in court, the circuit court judge had, in his ruling, had indicated that Abronye be remanded into BNI custody until the final determination of that matter. Now, the initial ruling was that he would be remanded into prison custody, but the lawyers appealed that and pleaded with the court, and so that was changed to BNI custody. Now, this was what the lawyers say they had, but when they were served the court proceedings of the day, that portion of the ruling indicated that Abronye was to be remanded into BNI custody until the next adjourned days, essentially meaning that he was supposed to be having remanded for 2 weeks. Now, they raised objections to the court proceedings, essentially alleging that the details that happened in court was not what was captured by the court proceedings. Now, the presiding judge in the matter took that indication that the allegations they were making were in that amounted to forging judicial or court documents, and that has serious implications. Now, because of that, the judge then caused the clerk to bring back those proceedings, and then he read it in open court. Now, in open court, it came out that the ruling had to say that the Abronye be remanded into BNI custody until the next adjourned date.
Well, it would appear we lost Lord Eduasari on that connection to court, but we can take a listen to Abronye and his lawyer. Here, take a look.
All the documents I have filed so far. The Nyambo will come back on Thursday.
In court today, my lord referred to the court record and the objection we raised with the court as to the incomplete nature of the record of proceedings as we received. My lord raised that, on the record, there was nowhere that they indicated that the accused person was remanded into custody until the final determination of the case. My lord has admonished that we rectify the issue with the registrar. And now, as I said, I'm counsel on record, and my legal team has.
Well, Lord Eduasari brought us that report from court, but we'll stay there because former Western Region Minister Kwabena Okyere-Darko-Mensah has been discharged by the court after he testified as a third defense witness for former NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Wontumi. Among other things, Okyere-Darko-Mensah admitted during cross-examination that he was unaware of the conversation between Wontumi and Henry Okumi, who is the prosecution witness number 2, which resulted in the latter mining on his concession at Samre Boy. Lord Eduasari reports.
Bernard Enchi-Boisiakon, also known as Wontumi, is facing charges of assigning mining rights without the approval of the land minister and facilitating illegal mining operations on the Samre Boy concession in the Western region. Former Western Regional Minister Kwabena Okyere-Darko-Mensah, who also served as chairman of the Western Regional Security Council, told the court during his testimony that a formal complaint was received from Akonta Mining about the invasion of illegal mining operators on Wontumi Samre Boy concession. He affirmed that the complaint was written and documented and was urgently acted upon by the Security Council, as it was consistent with several complaints from other mining rights owners in the region about organized criminal groups invading concessions and carrying out illegal mining. During cross-examination by Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Fremsai, the former minister, who served from 2017 to 2025, disclosed that he did not personally know the prosecution's second witness, Henry Okum, the individual who testified that he was commissioned by Wontumi to mine on his concession. Henry Okum had further told the court that Wontumi did not produce any formal mining rights. Asked about the engagement between Okum and Wontumi, Darko-Mensah indicated that he was unaware of the interaction between the small-scale miner and the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman. Lead counsel and the Apia Kubi expressed satisfaction with the outcome of the testimony.
Was to indicate that it was rather Chairman Wontumi and his company that made reports to his office as then chairman of the Western Regional Security Council, and that all efforts made by the Security Council to ward off illegal miners and also to redeem or reclaim the lands so degraded by illegal mining were at his instance. So today's evidence sits very well with our own, and indeed it exonerates people who engage in reclamation of degraded lands.
Defense lawyers are set to call their next witness on Wednesday, June 3. Lord Eduasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, residents of Kenke Factory, a suburb of Koforigia, are demanding sustainable drainage systems and wider culverts to address recurring floods in the area. The flooding, which residents blame on ongoing China Mall construction, has affected the community in recent weeks. Although the Eastern Region Minister Rita Akosua-Awate ordered a suspension of work on the project over a week ago to allow for proper drainage works, residents say only partial desilting has been done and it is not enough. Now, TV3 correspondent Yvonne Nikwe was in the community to interact with residents on their concerns and proposed solutions. Let's now hear from the residents.
During construction time, for them to just have a look at it. So that cover needs to be opened. Yeah, they just need to open the covert and then allow the water to flow it safely, or allow the water to flow normally, how it should be flowing.
I think when they do it well, it will help the situation. Even if not all the safer, it will help somehow. Except they remove the gutters, they do the gutter well, open the gutter, the channel, so that when the rain falls, it can flow fluent or fast. Oh, I love people's materials. I'm a tailor. I sew in the house. People came and give me materials. I have many materials there. Even after that, the materials that spoil, I can't dry it. Even when I dry it, there will be stains inside, and I cannot use it anymore. It's not necessary to keep it that material. So I just burn them and forget about it because it's happening already.
Nana say boys be yes China for abeto edo how bebre abrain ye bi kan ekowurawura edem na eyi nkrofo niema ye maami say owu ye mfi afeni akiraba ono sa nso ni yiri sa na eko ne dem na ne mani ni ho timra ne mani bae na ewura kododo so won pagya no de ne kodu hospital ni.
Now, some traditional leaders in Jakobu, the capital of the Amansie Central District in the Ashanti region, have protested to oppose the sitting of the government's proposed the siting of the government's proposed 24-hour market project. Now, these residents say they are discontent that the project site has allegedly been relocated to Mile 9 instead of Jakobu. Addressing the media, Jasehene of Jakobu, Nana Enim Koko, expressed disappointment over what he described as the disregard for the concerns and interests of the traditional council and the people of Jakobu.
Town any Jakobu, district capital any Jakobu. You say no, one more at the Abase on Baba Yamae, and Penifo Bebusa and I'm doing baby ayano. Ampa ye chere wo mo asase a e chere se wo betumi ayi dwumadie wo ho dwumadie no de o mpese wo me no ho bia no e betumi akọ amana yiyi ye ne ye wura DC ye wo Amansie Central ehia wo ho ma wo ma eti ase se ampa wo ma ya asase no ye de asase na ma wo mo didi etie bia no wo me baba be dwumadie no e wo ha mai.
Evans Inkom is our correspondent on this beat. Evans, what more can you tell us about this protest and whether officials are willing to engage traditional leaders on their grievances?
From the municipal or district chief executives, as far as the Amansie Central is concerned, but to these traditional, council members, they believe that there's some level of breach of trust, and it is stemming from what they describe as the fact that, there has been a sudden change of mind. Considering earlier conversation with traditional authority, I'm talking about the siting of the 24-hour market within that particular enclave, that is between the traditional authority and that of government. Because they thought that Jakobu presents some level of a vibrant business environment, very conducive for this particular projects, but now it has been moved to Manang, which is about 20 kilometers away from the district capital, Jakobu. But Kemini, let me say that this is not new as far as this particular project is concerned. I mean, the Shanti region has recorded pockets of such a mild, or if you like, a minor protest in some parts of the region.
Evans, we leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Evans Inkum, Ashanti region correspondent there with that report from Jakobu. Now, stigma, lack of funds and family support continue to pose a huge challenge to ending obstetric fistula in the northern region. According to the Regional Directorate of Health, the situation is thwarting efforts by the Directorate and other stakeholders to completely eliminate obstetric fistula cases in that region. Now, this was disclosed to TV3 following a successful repair of 12 cases in Yendi. Let's go to Tamale now and speak to correspondent Christopher Amwako on this matter. Christopher, what else is there to know about the widespread of fistula cases in the northern region and what it means for these 12 patients to get relief?
Yes, so Kemini, if you come to the northern parts of the country, fistula is seen as something that's related to witchcraft because they believe that once you have that condition, it is sort of spiritually related according to the people. So your family is stigmatized against yourself and all the people around you. It is very difficult for the people to even associate themselves with the communities in which they live in. And so the Directorate of Health here in the region has taken it upon themselves to intensify education, go to the communities to also ensure that people living with fistula get early treatment. Let's take a listen to what the Regional Directorate has been saying about the stigma and lack of funding associated with the treatment of fistula.
So for Northern region, we have a lot of fistula cases, but because of one or two reasons, in terms of stigma, lack of funding for the repairs, and then for the fistula cases, most of them usually don't have family support. So we find it difficult getting them to come out to accept that they actually have these conditions that they need. When a woman is suffering from fistula, some community members think that the woman is a witch or has offended their gods, and that is why this issue has befallen that client. So most of the times they are neglected, and when they stay at home for a very long time before we are able to even identify and fetch them out for the treatment, the condition becomes worse. And because they are stigmatized, they don't also want to come out to say that they have the condition. And those who also even have the condition within the facilities, I mean their communities, they are confined in a room.
Well, Christopher, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you so much for the reporting. Christopher Mwako, Northern Region correspondent, bringing us to a close for this edition of News Central. I'm Kemini Amano. I'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.
They did not say NDC will come and amend that bill. NDC will come and review that bill. NDC will come and delete provisions from that bill and redraft it before we sign. That is a scam, and that is breach of trust. That is deception, and that is hypocrisy.
Let's get some legal education on the stalemate with regards to the passage of this bill. Justice Abdullahi is a constitutional lawyer. And Justice, I appreciate your time with us this afternoon. Just before we get into the legal matters of this, is it just me, or there appears to be some feet dragging and flip-flopping on the part of government as far as this bill is concerned?
And actually, the posture of government from Parliament and indeed to the executive clearly shows some form of inertia, discomfort in approaching this overly sensitive matter in how it eventually becomes an act of parliament for the purposes of implementation. It is obvious, and it is obvious because of the nature of it and how the international community respond to anything in relation to this area. There are indeed a lot of, if you like, strong opposition to any African country attempting to make a law forbidding homosexuality across the globe. But even though it is not the same within their jurisdictions, we saw how Trump's position on this subject has been. And you do not see the same level of resistance within their own countries. But if we do it, of course, the whole world turns up against us. And so, it's sometimes your aid is tied to this. So the whole gamut of international diplomacy and the economic benefits attached to it is somehow symbiotically related to your decision on this subject. And so I can understand why the government is quite uncomfortable about the approach to this.
Very well. Now, let's look at the legal matters that have cropped up as a result of this. We know that the Speaker has summoned leadership of both sides. But explain to us, is it legal that after a bill has passed, the Speaker of Parliament can now get involved and say that let's look at this again?
Legally, so long as the bill went through the entire processes that is required under the standing orders of Parliament to be passed, the Speaker's discomfort about it cannot alter going forward how things happen. Of course, that is not to say that practically we can discount the Speaker's signature before the bill can be sent to the President, the office of the President for his assent. Let's remember, once the bill is passed, the Speaker will have to add a certificate to it before it can be dispatched to the office of the President. And so the Speaker does have that control, but to reenact.
When I say my course, so if Abronye bill conditions are on the man out, will be seeking for variation. As a bill variations, if I so, but say, court no, the document be the man on no to me, to me, it took my court abogun. When I say my if you buy a damn so subscribe and one subscribe. Why two notification bell no so one share ama only so and you be bar a political headline so near the big upper room.